Good morning, all of you. So today we are continuing solid state lecture 3. In this class, we are going to complete about crystal lattices of different types of solids and defects in solids. So coming to crystal lattices, yesterday we have discussed, in the previous class we have discussed crystal lattices. Now, ionic compounds of the type AB. So ionic compounds of the type AB have three crystalline structures. Ionic compounds of the type AB has three types of crystalline structures, mainly zinc sulfide, type, NaCl type, and CaCl type. So cesium chloride, NaCl, zinc sulfide, cesium chloride. In the examination, they'll ask you theoretical question based on this concept: zinc sulfide type, NaCl type, and cesium chloride type. So these are the types of ionic compounds of type AB. Next, so coming back to types of ionic solids. First, sodium chloride type. So the sodium chloride structure is composed of sodium ions and chlorine ions. The number of sodium ions is equal to that of chlorine ions. The radii of sodium ions and chlorine ions is 95 picometers and 181 picometers, giving the radius ratio of 0.524. So here, this is the structure of sodium chloride, in which the sodium ions, and it consisting of sodium ions and chlorine ions. And sodium ions, one sodium ion is surrounding by 6 chlorine ions. We have given the colors also clearly. So green color is chlorine, and the pink color, violet color is sodium here. So for one chlorine, 6 sodium ions are surrounding, and for one sodium, 6 chlorine ions are surrounding. Hence the coordination number is 6, and the number of sodium ions is equal to that of chlorine ions. So the radius of sodium ion and chlorine ions is 95 picometers and 181 picometers respectively, giving the radius ratio 0.524. So this is the radius ratio of cation to radius of anion. It is equal to 0.524. And the more about chlorine structure you can see here. The radius ratio of 0.524 for sodium chloride suggests that it is containing octahedral void. So based on the radius ratio of cations and anions, we can decide whether it is tetrahedral void or octahedral void. So the chloride ions are arranged in cubic close packing. In this arrangement, Cl ions are present at the corners. Very, very important this statement. Cl ions are present at the corners and say at the center of each cube. Whereas the arrangement is called as face-centered cubic arrangement. This arrangement is called as what? Face-centered. So all the in NaCl, chlorine ions, all the chlorine ions are occupied at the corners as well as face centers. You can see here, chlorine ions represents green color. So they are occupying face centers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So and these chlorine ions are occupying face centers and at the corners also. And the sodium ions are present at the octahedral holes. The sodium ions are present in the octahedral holes. These two statements is very, very important. These two statements are very important. So this arrangement is also called as face-centered cubic arrangement. So in NaCl, what is the radius ratio of sodium to chlorine ion is equal to 0.524, which suggests an octahedral void. And chloride ions in a typical unit cell are arranged in cubic close packing. So cubic close packing means FCC. So all the chloride ions will be occupying at the corners as well as at the face centers. So chlorine ions are present at the corners and at the center of each face of the cube. This arrangement is also regarded as face-centered cubic arrangement, and sodium ions are present in all the octahedral holes. So they'll ask question in the examination based on this. The sodium ions occupy which positions, chlorine ion occupies which positions. So for sodium chloride, the sodium ion occupies octahedral holes and the chlorine ions occupies center of each face of the cube and also at the corners and also at the corners. So this is called sodium chloride structure. So here it is clear, I hope. Next. Since the number of octahedral holes in CCP structure is equal to number of anions, every octahedral hole is occupied by sodium ions. So that the formula of sodium chloride NaCl, stoichiometry of NaCl is 1:1. This point is also very important. So 1:1 is very important here. 1:1 is very important here. And here 1:1 is very important. So I'm underlining it, highlighting it. So the ratio of sodium to chlorine ions is 1:1. The ratio of sodium to chlorine ion is 1:1, and all the sodium ions will occupy octahedral voids. So next, coming to since there are 6 octahedral holes around each chloride ions, each chlorine ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions. Similarly, each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chlorine ions. Therefore, the coordination number of chlorine ion as well as of sodium ions is 6. This is called 6:6 coordination. Very, very important, 6:6 coordination. It should be noted that sodium ions, to exactly fit the octahedral holes, the radius of sodium ion to radius of chlorine ion should be equal to 0.414. However, the actual radius ratio is 0.524, exceeds this value. Therefore, to accommodate large sodium ions, the chlorine ions move apart slightly. They do not touch each other, and they form an expanded face-centered lattice. So the unit cell of sodium chloride has 4 sodium and 4 chloride ions as calculated below. So number of sodium ions is 12 into edge centers. At each edge center, 1/4 of atom is contributed. Kindly note down. At each edge center, 1/12 of atom is contributed, and at body center 1 is contributed. So number of sodium ions is 4, and number of chloride ions already we know 8 at each corner. 8 corners, 1/8 of atom is contributed, and at each face 1/2 of atom is contributed. So number of chloride ions is 4. So thus the number of NaCl units per unit cell is 4. Very, very important. The number of NaCl units per unit cell is 4. Here everything is been typed for your understanding clearly. So it's very easy to understand. So in this, the main points are: first point, where the chlorine ions are present. All the chlorine ions occupies in a sodium chloride crystal in a unit cell. All the chlorine ions occupy corners as well as face centers, whereas chloride ions are occupying all the octahedral voids. Sodium ions are occupying all the octahedral voids. So we have sodium ions is equal to 12 into edge centers into 1/4, and 1 is at body center. So hence this is the called sodium chloride, and the coordination number of sodium is 6. Sodium ion is 6, as well as chlorine ion is also 6. Thus the number of NaCl units per unit cell is 4. So this is about NaCl structure. Similarly, we'll study about other structures. Next, zinc sulfide structure. So it is also very, very important. All the important points are being given nicely to you, so that you need to just study this. Just they'll ask 4 types of questions: where the zinc ions are present, where the sulfur ions are present. The same way, like in sodium chloride crystal, NaCl crystal unit cell, where the sodium ions are present, where the chlorine ions are present. That is question number 1. Question number 2, number of coordination number. That is how many number of chlorine ions are surrounding for sodium ions. The same way, how many zinc ions are surrounded. That is coordination number. Next, we have octahedral voids, etc. So next, coming to zinc blend. The zinc sulfide structure crystals are composed of equal number of zinc ions as well as sulfide ions. So zinc sulfide crystals are composed of equal number of Zn+2 and S-2 ions, that is sulfide ions. The radii of 2 ions, zinc is 74 picometers, sulfide ion is 184 picometers, led to the radius ratio 0.40, which suggests a tetrahedral arrangement. So if the radius ratio of cation and the radius of anion is equal to 0.40, it has tetrahedral shape, tetrahedral arrangement. The zinc ions are arranged in CCP arrangement. CCP means here cubic close packing. That is, sulfide ions are present at the corners and the centers of each of the face of the cube. Here also, sulfide ions are present at the corners and centers of each of the face of the cube, whereas chlorine ions, zinc ions occupy tetrahedral holes. Zinc ions occupy tetrahedral holes. Only half of the tetrahedral holes are occupied by zinc ions, so that the formula of zinc sulfide is ZnS. So zinc ions are occupying tetrahedral holes. Here the diagram is representing cesium chloride. It is not zinc chloride. Zinc sulfide we have to discuss. So You can see only, don't see the diagram, only you can just see the statements here. Zinc ions occupy tetrahedral holes. Only half of the tetrahedral holes are occupied by zinc ions, so that the formula of the zinc sulfide is ZnS. That is, the stoichiometry of the compound is also here 1:1. Only alternate tetrahedral holes are occupied by zinc ions. Since the void is tetrahedral, each zinc ion is surrounded by 4 sulfide ions, and each sulfide ion is surrounded by 4 zinc ions. Thus, zinc sulfide has 4:4 coordination. Hence, the coordination number of zinc is 4 with respect to sulfur, and the coordination number of sulfur with respect to zinc is also 4. So, for exact fitting of zinc ions in the tetrahedral holes formed by close packing of sulfide ions, the ratio of zinc and sulfur should be 2.225, 0.225, sorry, 0.225. Actually, this ratio is slightly large, 0.40. Therefore, zinc ions and 4 sulfur ions are units are calculated below. Number of sulfur ions is equal to 8 corners into 1/8 of atom plus 6 face centers into 1/2, that is equal to 4. And number of zinc ions is equal to 4 within the body into 1, that is 4. Thus, the number of zinc sulfide units per unit cell is equal to 4. Some more examples of these ionic solids having zinc blend structures are copper, carbon, Cu bromide, copper chloride, actually it should be Cl, copper, Cl, CuCl, CuBr, CuI, AgI, beryllium sulfide, etc. Beryllium sulfide. Here it is CuCl. Here it is CuCl. I'm just making it change. It is CuCl. It is CuCl. Yes. So CuCl. So all these points are important. So this is called zinc sulfide structure, also called as zinc blend structure. Next, Woodside structure. This is also very, very important. Zinc sulfide has 2 types of structure, zinc blend structure as well as Woodside structure. Woodside structure, it is an alternate form in which zinc sulfide occurs in nature. Sulfide ions have HCP arrangement, hexagonal close packing arrangement, and zinc ions occupy tetrahedral voids. So this is another type of representation. Sulfide ions have hexagonal close packing arrangement, and zinc ions occupy tetrahedral voids. Only half the alternate tetrahedral voids are occupied by zinc ions. I'm underlining this point. Only half the alternate tetrahedral voids are occupied by zinc ions. And coordination number of zinc ions as well as sulfur ions is 4. Thus, this structure has 4:4 coordination, and number of zinc ions per unit cell. Number of zinc ions per unit cell is 4. 4 into 1 plus 6 at edge center, so it is equal to 6. Number of zinc ions per unit cell is equal to 6. Number of sulfur ions per unit cell is equal to 12 corners and 1/6 plus 2 at the face centers, 1/2 plus 3, that is equal to 6. Thus, there are 6 formula units per unit cell. So, in HCP arrangement, 6 formula units per unit cell. Now, going back to zinc blend spallate structure. Sodium chloride, next zinc blend spallate structure we have discussed already. Since the void is tetrahedral, this is also finished. Now, question you see here: if silver iodide crystallizes in zinc blend structure with iodine ions forming the lattice, then calculate fraction of the tetrahedral voids occupied by silver ion solution. In silver iodide, if there are n ions, there will be n Ag plus ions. As iodine ions form the lattice, number of tetrahedral voids is equal to 2n. As there are n Ag plus ions to occupy these voids, therefore fraction of tetrahedral voids occupied by silver ions is 1/2, that is equal to 50. So this type of questions are important. Try to understand carefully. Next, Woodside structure we have discussed just now. Next, we have Cesium chloride structure, very, very important. For zinc sulfide, I have given here also diagram is given wrong. So cesium chloride structure we'll discuss now. So the cesium chloride crystal is composed of equal number of cesium and chloride ions. The area of two ions, cesium 169 picometers. These are all experimental values, and chlorine ion 181 picometers, led to the radius ratio of cesium to cesium minus, that is as radius ratio as 0.93, which suggests it contains a body-centered cubic structure. So this is very important. I'm underlining it. It contains a body structure, body-centered cubic lattice. Body-centered cubic structure having a cubic hole. Body-centered cubic structure having a cubic hole, and radius ratio is equal to 0.93. The chloride ion form the simple cubic arrangement, and the cesium ion. See, here the chloride ion forms simple cubic arrangement. Simple cubic arrangement underlining. Simple cubic arrangement. It shows all the chlorine ions will occupy only corners of the cube, whereas cesium ions occupy the cubic interstitial holes. Cubic interstitial holes. In other words, cesium ion is at the center of the cube or vice versa. Cubic interstitial holes is center of the cube. Center of the cube. So this location only they will ask where the chlorine ions are present, where the cesium ions are present. So chlorine ions occupy corners of the cube, whereas cesium ions occupy center of the cube. Each cesium ion is surrounded by 8 chlorine ions, and each chlorine ion is surrounded by 8 cesium ions. From the structure we can understand. Hence, the coordination number is 8:8. Coordination number is 8:8. For exact fitting of cesium ions in the cubic voids, the radius ratio should be equal to 0.732, but it's slightly higher. Therefore, packing of chlorine ions slightly open up to accommodate cesium ions. So, this is about cesium chloride structure. So, it undergoes BCC lattice. The unit cell of cesium chloride has one cesium ion and one chlorine ion as calculated below. The cesium chloride units per number of units per unit cell is 1. Relation between cation and anion and edge length of the cube is equal to root 3 by 2a. Root 3 by 2a. That is R is equal to root 3 by 2a since it is undergoing BCC lattice. So other common examples of this type structure are cesium bromide, cesium iodide, thallium chloride, thallium bromide. Higher coordination number in cesium chloride is 8:8, suggests that the cesium chloride lattice is more stable than sodium chloride lattice. Very, very important point. If the coordination number is more, the stability of the lattice is also more. So in which coordination number is greater, stability is also greater. So actually, the cesium chloride lattice is found to be 1% more stable than the sodium chloride lattice. Then the question arises why NaCl and other similar compounds do not have cesium type lattice? Because due to their smaller radius ratio. The smallest radius ratio. If you see the radius ratio of sodium and chlorine ions, it is less when compared to cesium chloride, because cesium chloride radius ratio is 0.93. Cesium chloride radius ratio is 0.93. Hence, it is having more. So, any attempt to pack 8 anions around the relatively small cation will produce a state in which a negative ions will touch each other. Sooner they approach a positive ion. This causes instability to the lattice. Unstability to the lattice. So, ionic compounds of AB2 type. So, till now we have discussed AB type, that is zinc sulfide structure, NaCl structure. Zinc sulfide we have zinc blend, as well as zinc sulfide we have Woodside structure. And next we are going to deal with ionic compounds of type AB2, that is also called as fluoride structures. Fluoride structures. The calcium ions are arranged in CCP arrangement in calcium fluoride. Now we are discussing about CaF2, SrF2, BaCl2, and so on. So all this will come under this section. So AB2 type. So the calcium ions, that is the cations, are arranged in CCP arrangement. CCP means here the ions occupy all the corners and centers of each face of the cube, and F- occupy all the tetrahedral holes. Tetrahedral holes is important. They'll ask these positions only in the examination. In a CaF2 structure, Ca plus 2 ions occupy dash. In F minus ions occupy dash. Like these questions they'll ask in the examination based on statement based questions. That's why these statements which I'm underlining is very, very important. Just you have to remember these points only. So whichever is underlying that point only you have to remember. Please carefully observe this. The calcium ions are arranged in CCP arrangement. That is, they occupy all the corners as well as centers of each face of the cube. And F minus ions occupy all the tetrahedral holes. All the tetrahedral holes. Now, since there are two tetrahedral holes for each calcium ion and F minus ions occupy all the tetrahedral holes, there will be two F minus ions for each calcium ion. Thus, the stoichiometry of the compound is a ratio 1:2. Unlike in the case of first case AB type 1:1, here it is 1:2. Each calcium ion is surrounded by 8 F minus ions, and each F minus ions is surrounded by 4 calcium ions. Very, very important here. Hence, the coordination number of calcium is 8 and that of fluorine is 4. And this is called 8:4 coordination. Coordination number of calcium is 8 means what? It represents, means for 1 calcium ions, 8 fluorine ions are surrounding. And fluorine ions coordination number is 4 means for 1 fluorine ion, 4 calcium ions are surrounding. Hence, it is 8:4 coordination and number of calcium ions. Each cell unit has 4 calcium ions, 8 fluoride ions, and number of calcium ions is equal to 4 and number of fluorine ions is equal to within the body is equal to 8. Thus, the number CaF2 units per cell units per unit cell is 4. So for 1 unit cell, we have 4 CaF2 units. Other examples of this structure is SrF2, BaCl2, BaF2, PbF2, CdF2, HgF2, CuF2, SrCl2, etc. All these examples are also very important. So they undergo fluoride structures. So this is very, very important for the examination point of view. So this is fluoride structures. Next, this is the example diagram is given here. So CaF2, calcium ions is in green color, and pink color is fluorine ion. Next, compounds of type A to B. Here we have completed AB2. Now anti-fluoride structure. These are also called as anti-fluoride structures. Total 4 different structures we have: AB type, AB2 type, A to B type. And AB type already we discussed the examples, that is cesium chloride and zinc sulfide and NaCl. And in zinc sulfide we have two types, that is Woodside structure as well as common structure, that is zinc blende structure. So now we have anti-fluoride structure. So the compound having A to B formula, compounds having anti-fluoride structures. Anti-fluoride structure is having rearrangement of cations and anions opposite to the fluoride structure. Example, lithium oxide, Li2O, has an anti-fluoride structure. Li2NH has an anti-fluoride structure. In the diagram is given Li2NH, that is lithium amine, dilithium amine. So in the crystal structure of Li2O, the O2 minus ions constitute a cubic closed packed lattice, that is F2 structure, FCC structure, and lithium ions occupy all the tetrahedral. That's why it is opposite to fluoride structure. What is fluoride structure? Cations occupying all the here anions are occupying cubic closed packing, whereas cations are occupying tetrahedral voids, where their anions are occupying tetrahedral voids and cations are occupying cubic closed packed. So that is the anti-fluoride structure. So simply, if you know fluoride structure, we can remember about anti-fluoride structure, just opposite to it. So in this anion, that is lithium oxide example, the anion is oxygen ion. Oxygen ions constitute a cubic closed packing, that is, they occupy all the corners and face center, and lithium ions occupy all the tetrahedral voids, that is within the body. So each oxide ion is in contact with 8 lithium ions, and each lithium ion having contact with 4 oxide ions. Therefore, coordination number is 4:8. But here the coordination number of lithium is 4 and oxygen is 8. Lithium is 4 and oxygen is 8. Whereas in the fluoride structure, coordination number of calcium is 8 and fluorine is 4. So other examples, Na2O, K2O, etc. All A to B type structures. All A to B type will undergo anti-fluoride structure. Next, corundum structure. The general formula of the compounds crystallizing in the corundum is Al2O3, that is aluminum A2O3 type. The closest packing is that of anions in hexagonal. Anions in hexagonal. Closest packing is that of anions. Oxide ions is in hexagonal primitive lattice, and 2/3 of octahedral voids are occupied with trivalent cations. That is Al+3. Here it should be not A2O3, it should be Al2O3. And this is called corundum structure. Other examples is Fe2O3, Al2O3, and Cr2O3. So this is the structure of corundum. Oxygen vacancy, crystal surface, oxygen in atmosphere, oxygen aluminum substrate ion. Next. Going forward. Yes. Next. Perovskite structure. The general formula of this structure is AbO3. One of the cation is bivalent and the other is tetravalent. Cation is divalent like magnesium and the other is tetravalent. AbO3. AbO3. Example is calcium titanium oxide, barium titanium oxide. So here the calcium is divalent and titanium is tetravalent. And the other is tetravalent, not anion. It is only cation again. So the bivalent ions are present in primitive cubic lattice with 6 oxide ions on the centers of all the 6 square faces. The tetravalent cation is at the center of the unit cell occupying octahedral void. So this is the diagram. Here, the tetravalent cation is in the center of the unit cell occupying octahedral voids, whereas the bivalent will occupy 6 square faces. And oxide ion, primitive cubic lattice with oxide ions at the center of all the 6 faces. Means here, calcium is occupying all the corners, that is the green one, and bivalent ions are primitive cubic lattice with 6 oxide ions on the centers of all the 6 square faces. So oxygen ions is blue color, calcium ions is green color, and tetravalent cation is center of the unit cell occupying octahedral void, that is red color. So here this is titanium. So in this way, calcium, oxygen, and titanium existing. So oxygen is existing all the 6 faces of the cube. Next, spinal and inverse spinal structure. Very, very important. The spinal and inverse spinal structure. So spinal is a mineral, generally a formula magnesium, aluminum, oxygen. So magnesium is divalent, aluminum is trivalent, and oxygen is divalent again. Generally, they can be represented as M+2, M+3, and O4. So M+2 is present in 1/3. Here, underline this one, very important. Divalent magnesium is present in 1/8 of tetrahedral voids in a FCC lattice of oxide of ions, and aluminum, that is Al+3 ions, are present in half of the octahedral voids. Aluminum ions are present in the half of the octahedral voids, and usually M2+ is magnesium, iron, cobalt, nickel, zinc, and manganese, and M3 is iron, that is Fe+ state, aluminum, manganese, chromium, and rhodium. So examples of these structures is ZnAl2O4, Fe3O4, FeCr2O4. Many substances of this type also has this structure. In an inverse spinal structure, the CCP is of oxide ions. Means here O2- ions will occupy CCP, that is cubic close packing, that is all the corners as well as face centers of each face center of each face. And M2+ ion is 1/8 of tetrahedral voids. M2+, that is magnesium or what +2 ion, that is 1/8 of tetrahedral voids, while M+3 would be 1/8 of tetrahedral voids and 1/4 of octahedral voids. That is the difference. 1/8 of tetrahedral voids and 1/4 of octahedral voids. These are the representation of spinal and inverse spinal structures and examples. So next, brief. Here we have everything is given in the table. This table is very important so that you easily can understand what is given here. So what are the important points? That's why we have made this table. So back to this table, rock salt type structure where the chlorine ions are occupying, chlorine ions in CCP, sodium ions occupy all octahedral voids. CCP means 8 corners and 6 face centers, and sodium ions occupy all the octahedral voids. So FCC, that is. So coordination number is 6:6, and number of atoms per unit cell is 4. Examples: lithium, sodium, potassium iodide, rubidium halides, etc., etc., etc. Next, Coming to zinc blende structure, second one, zinc blende, we have two types of structures. One is zinc blende structure, the zinc sulfide, and this is Woodside structure. So in zinc blende structure, sulfide ions occupy CCP and zinc ions occupy alternate tetrahedral voids. Zinc ions occupy alternate tetrahedral voids. That's why to make for the students convenient, more convenient, all the important points have been categorized in a tabular form. That's why this table is very, very important for exam point of view. And the coordination number of zinc is 4 and sulfide ion is also 4. So number of atoms per unit cell is equal to 4, and atoms ratio is 1:1 in case of first one and second one and third one also. Next example, zinc sulfide, beryllium sulfide, copper chloride, copper bromide, copper iodide, silver iodide, mercury sulfide. Next Woodside structure, sulfide ions occupy HCP and zinc ions occupy alternate tetrahedral voids. Here in space of CCP it is HCP, that is the only difference. And zinc sulfide, zinc oxide, cadmium sulfide, beryllium oxide. Coordination number is also same, that is 4:4. Next we have cesium chloride type structures, that is cesium chloride, in which chlorine ions occupy BCC, that is body center, and cesium ions in the body of the cube. So example, the radius ratio, that is coordination number is 8:4, and here 8:4, and here CAF examples is CSCl, CSBr, CSI, CSCN, CAS. Next fluoride type structure, calcium ions, CaF2, in which calcium ions occupy CCP, that is all the corners and face centers, and F minus occupy all the tetrahedral voids. So here also 4, and examples is AB2 type salts. Next antifluoride structure, A to B side. So where O2 minus ions occupy CCP and cations occupy all the tetrahedral sites. So coordination number is 4:8, and here it is 4. Number of atoms per unit cell is 4 because it is undergoing FCC body centered. So K2O, Na2O, K2S, Na2S, etc. Now these are the important. This is the important structures, and where so from this definitely the last question for the completed exam. You have to definitely remember this table, very, very important. And now we are going to see some questions based on this concept. The radius ratio of sodium ions and chlorine ions and Log-Saw structure is 0.842. This already we have calculated. So this point is important. The radius ratio of chlorine ions and sodium ions in chlorine ions in rock salt structure is 0.842. Next, in zinc blende structure, radius ratio of zinc ions to sulfide ions is, it is C, 0.82. Next, which of the following molecules does not have cesium chloride structure? So the answer is D, that is calcium fluoride, CaF, because even though it is of CaF, but it is not possible at all. So CS bromide, CS iodide, and thallium chloride is all possible, but CaF is not possible. The unit cell of cesium chloride has one cesium ion, and how many chlorine ions they are asking about, and it is one chlorine ion because there is the ratio 1:1. Next, the general formula of the compounds crystallizing in corundum of the structure is Al2O3. It is Al2O3, that is A2O3. Here A means aluminium or any other element with valency +3. So Al2O3 is corundum formula. So A2O3. Answer is D. Next question. I think the questions are over. So A, B, D, A, D. Now, very, very important concept. So now we have seen how the structures of solid takes place. That is crystal lattices of solids we have studied, where the cations are occurring, where the anions are occurring. Now, the next topic in this chapter is defects in solids. Defects in solids. So, due to the presence of cation or anion in the lattice sites, every solid will have defect. So, every crystal lattice will have defect. That only we are going to study now. That is impurity defects, stoichiometric defect, non-stoichiometric defects. So, impurity defects, stoichiometric defects, and non-stoichiometric defects. So, we are seeing about stoichiometric defects, that is Schottky defect, Frenkel defect, Bacon's defect, interstitial defect, and non-stoichiometric defects, metal excess and metal deficiency defect. So we are going to discuss all these things. Coming to stoichiometric defects. The compounds in which the number of cation and anions are exactly in the same ratio as represented by the chemical formula are called stoichiometric compounds. The compounds in which the number of cation and anions are exactly in the same ratio as represented by the chemical formula are called stoichiometric compounds. The defects that do not disturb the ratio of cations and anions are called stoichiometric defects. So there are four types: vacancy defect, interstitial defect, Schottky defect, Frenkel defect. Now we are going to discuss all these defects. What is vacancy defect? When some of the lattice sites are vacant, the crystal is said to have vacancy defect. This results in decrease in density of the substance. Decrease in density of the substance is most important here. This defect can also develop when a substance is heated. So when you heat a crystalline solid, this defect can be developed. That is, what will happen when you heat the crystalline solid? What will happen? Some of the ions will migrate from one sphere to another sphere, due to which what happens, the lattice sites becomes vacant. Lattice sites are vacant, and due to this what happens, density of the crystal decreases. Next, interstitial defect. When some constant particles, that is atoms or molecules, occupy an interstitial site. That is, what is interstitial site? Here interstitial site means the space between two spheres. The space between two spheres, the crystal is said to have interstitial defect. This defect increases the density of the substance. This defect increases the density of the substance, means more number of cations will be or anions. Usually the cations only will be fitting because anions are larger in size. See here, this is called vacancy defect and this is called interstitial defect. Some of the cations, the blue color one is called cation and the green color one is called anions. Now coming to Schottky defect. If in an ionic crystal of the type A plus B minus, of the type A plus B minus. Here important is A plus B minus, where A is cation, B is anion. If equal number of cations and anions are missing from their lattice, it is called Schottky defect. Equal number of cations and anions are missing from their lattice, it is called Schottky defect. This type of defect is shown by highly ionic compounds which have coordination number, high coordination number, very conditions important, high coordination number and small difference in size of cations and anions. Examples: sodium chloride, potassium chloride, potassium bromide, cesium chloride. So cesium chloride also exhibits Schottky defect. Very important here. Examples also they'll ask in the exam. And what is the main effect of Schottky defect? It decreases the consequence of Schottky defect. As the number of ions decreases as a result of this defect, the mass also decreases, whereas the volume remains the same. Hence, the density of solid decreases. So, due to Schottky defect, density of the crystal decreases. So this is very important point. Second point, the crystal begins to conduct electricity to a small extent by ionic mechanism. So, the conductivity also not decrease, we can say begins to conduct electricity to a small extent, means it is more ionizable because of some amount of cations and anions are missing from the lattice side. Next, the presence of too many voids lower lattice energy and the stability of the crystal. The presence of too many voids lowers lattice energy and the stability of the crystal. So this is called Schottky defect. And what are the consequences of Schottky defect also important, and we can see the diagram also in the coming slides. Just I'll show you the diagrams later on. Next, Frenkel defect. If an ion is missing from its lattice site, causing a vacancy or a hole, and occupies an interstitial site, electrical neutrality as well as stoichiometry of these compounds are maintained. So this type of defect is called as Frenkel defect. This is also just like dislocation. Dislocation means here the ions will not be in their place. They are just like bones dislocated in our body. That's why it is called as dislocation defect and also Frenkel defect. Since cations are usually smaller, it's very more common to find the cations occupying interstitial sites. Means the cations will leave their site and occupying the interstitial site. This type of defect is present in ionic compounds which have low coordination numbers, larger difference in size of cations and anions, compounds having highly polarizing cation and easily polarizable anion. A few examples of ionic compounds exhibiting these defects are silver chloride, silver bromide, silver iodide, zinc sulfide, etc. Consequence of Frenkel defect. As no ions are missing from the crystal lattice as a whole, Therefore, the density of solid remains same because only the cations are occupying interstitial site, but no ions are missing. Either cation is missing nor anion is missing. Hence, the density of solid remains same, but the closeness of like charge tends to increase, and the dielectric constant of the crystal also increases, and this increases the conductivity. So the crystal conducts electricity to a small extent by ionic mechanism. So what is the main cause or one consequence of Frankel defect? It increases the conductivity of the crystal. It increases the conductivity of the crystal due to, and here you can see the diagram clearly. If equal number of cations and anions are missing from the lattice side, it is called Schottky defect. Here you can see positive and negative. So equal number of positive and negative. One positive and one negative is missing from the lattice side. So if equal number of cations and anions are missing from the lattice side, it is called Schottky defect. Due to Schottky defect, density of the crystal decreases. And Frankel defect, so here the cation is occupying the interstitial site. Only cation, anions cannot occupy because anion size are bigger than cations usually. Only cation can leave its vacant lattice site and occupy the interstitial site, which by which what happens that conductivity of the crystal increases to a small extent. That is called Frankel defect. I hope it is clear, both the drawings. Next, non-stoichiometric defects. As a result of imperfection, the ratio of non-stoichiometric defects we are discussing now. As a result of imperfection, the ratio of number of cation to anion becomes different from that indicated by the ideal chemical formula. The defects are called non-stoichiometric defects. These defects arises either due to excess of metal atoms or non-metal atoms or presence of impurities. Now, what is metal excess defects? So it has been observed that if a crystal of NaCl is heated in sodium vapor, if a crystal of NaCl is heated in sodium vapor, it acquires yellow color. Very, very important here, it acquires yellow color. This yellow color is due to the formation of non-stoichiometric compound of sodium chloride in which there is slight excess of sodium ions. So if sodium ions are present more in sodium chloride crystal, it has a defect called metal excess defect, and due to which what happens, it shows yellow color. What happens in this case is that some sodium metal gets doped into sodium chloride crystal, doping. It is called doping. Some sodium metal gets doped into sodium chloride crystal, which due to the crystal energy gets ionized into sodium ions and electrons. This electron occupies a site that would otherwise be filled by a chloride ion, as illustrated in the figure. You can see the figure now. See, the electron, extra electron is occupying the interstitial site, which is called as color center. They are also called as F center, and due to which what happens, it forms yellow color. So this is called metal excess defect. There is evidently an excess of metal ions all through the crystal as a whole is neutral. A little reflection would show that there are 6 sodium ions adjacent to the vacant site occupied by the electron. The extra electron is thus shared between all the 6 ions, sodium ions, which implies that this electron is not localized at the vacant Cl minus site. On the other hand, this electron is similar to the delocalized p electrons present in the molecules containing conjugate double bonds. So, due to which, as the electron, unpaired electron it contains, on the whole, simply I'll tell you in simple language because all this given is more that you can study. But in simple language, if I see, due to the formation of one electron, that electron is unpaired, so it imparts color to the crystal. As a result, the non-stoichiometric form of sodium chloride appears colored. Because of this, the sites occupied by the extra electrons are known as color centers. These are also called as F centers. This name comes from the German word for meaning color. The non-stoichiometric sodium chloride may be represented by the formula Na 1 plus DCl, where D is in the excess sodium metal doped in the crystal because of its exposure to sodium vapor. Another common example of metal excess defects is the formation of magenta colored non-stoichiometric compound of potassium chloride by exposing the crystals of KCl to K metal vapor. So if excess of potassium ions are present in potassium chloride crystal, it imparts violet color. Or magenta color. So the colored compound contains excess of potassium ions, the vacant Cl minus ion signs being filled by electrons obtained by the ionization of excess of potassium metal doped in the crystal. On the whole, simple it is. So if metals are excess, automatically to balance the stoichiometry of the solid to maintain electrical neutrality, some electrons have been introduced. These electrons are called as F centers, and due to the presence of these electrons, they are unpaired, they impart color to the crystal. And for example, if you take potassium chloride, it gives magenta color, and if you take lithium chloride, it will give lilac flame, and if you take sodium metal, it will give sodium color, and this is called colored. So this is called crystals, that is metal excess defect. Now metal deficiency defect. In certain cases, one of the positive ions is missing from the lattice side, and the extra negative charge is balanced by some nearby metal ion acquiring two charges instead of one. Two charges instead of one. There is evidently a deficiency of the metal ions, although the crystal as a whole is neutral. This type of defect is generally found among the compounds of transition metals, which can exhibit variable valency. So crystals of FeO, FeS, and NiO show this type of defects. Metal deficiency defect. The existence of metal deficient defects in the crystal of FeO is illustrated. So here I'm repeating again. One of the positive ions, that is metal ions, is missing from its lattice side, and the extra negative charge is balanced by some nearby metal ion acquiring two charges instead of one. So FeO, FeS, NaO show this type of defect. The existence of metal deficiency defect in the existence of metal deficiency defects in the crystal of FeO is illustrated. It is evident It is evident from the above discussion that all types of point defects result in the creation of vacancies or holes in the lattice of the crystals. The presence of holes lowers the density as well as the lattice energy or the stability of the crystals. The presence of too many holes may cause a partial collapse of the lattice also. So this is called metal deficiency defect. So one of the cations is missing from the lattice side, and that cation will be occupying another cation, making A2 plus. You can see here A2 plus. Okay. Now this is called metal deficiency defect. Next, questions based on stoichiometric defects. Which of the following defects is not a type of stoichiometric defects? Vacancy defect, interstitial, Schottky, and metal excess defect. So answer is D, that is metal excess defect. Next, in which of the following defects equal number of anions and cations are missing from lattice side? That is nothing but Schottky defect, because equal number of cations and anions are missing from lattice side, which shows Schottky defect. Next, question number 3. Which of the following defects does not cause any change in the density of crystal? That is Frenkel defect, because Schottky defect gives density of the crystal decreases due to some number of cations and anions are missing from the lattice side. So answer for third one is D. And fourth one, the metal excess defect, the sites occupied with extra electrons are known as the metal excess defects. The sites occupied by extra electrons are known as F centers. Last question. Which of the following compounds does not show excuse me, which of the following compounds does not show metal deficiency defect? So it is NaCl, no, NaO, FeS, and FeO. So the answer is for fifth option is D, that is NaCl. So this is about defects in crystals. Next, electrical properties of solids. We'll continue with the electrical properties of solids. So, and next topic in this chapter is electrical properties of solids. So electrical properties of solids. Next topic. The electrical conductivity of solids may rise through the motion of electrons and positive holes, or through the motions of ions, that is electronic conductivity, or by the means of ionic conductivity, means either by the movement of electrons or by the movements of ions. The conduction to electrons is called n-type conduction, and to positive holes is called p-type conduction. So if the conduction of the to electrons, it is called n-type, and the conduction to positive holes, it is called p-type conduction. So electrical conductivity of metal is due to motion of electrons, and it increases with the number of electrons available to participate in the conduction process. Pure ionic solids, which can take place only through motion of ions, are called insulators. However, on the presence of defects in the crystal structure increases the conductivity. So, on the basis of electrical conductivity of the solids can be classified into three types mainly. First one is conductors, second one is insulators, third one is semiconductors. So, what are conductors? As you already know, allows the maximum portion of the applied electric field to flow through them. Have conductivities in the order of 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 8 ohm inverse. So, the conductivity order is 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 8. Whereas insulators, they have very low conductivities. We usually cannot pass current to the insulator. They do not practically allow the electric circuit to flow through them. The electrical conductivity is in the order 10 to the power of minus 10 to 10 to the power of minus 20 ohm inverse, meter inverse. So they are very, very poor conductors. Next, as insulators. Next, semiconductors. The solids with intermediate conductivities at the room temperature allow a portion of electric current to flow through them. They are called as semiconductors. So semiconductors allow the current partially pass through them. Allow the current partially. Next, metals. They allow the maximum portion of the applied electric field to flow through them and have conductivities in the order of 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 8 ohm inverse. Insulators. They have low conductivities, that is, they do not practically allow the electric circuit, and their electrical conductivity is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 10 to 10 to the power of minus 20. Semiconductors, it is in the ratio of 10 to the power of 1 to 10 to the power of minus 10. So the solids with intermediate conductivities at the room temperature, semiconductors, allow a portion of electric current to flow through them. Actually, semiconductors are those which are perfect insulators at absolute zero, but conduct electricity at room temperature. So we have two types of semiconductors: extrinsic semiconductors and intrinsic semiconductors. At 0 Kelvin, pure substance silicon and germanium act as insulators because electrons fixed in covalent bonds are not available for conduction. However, at higher temperature, some of the covalent bonds are broken and the electrons so released become free to move in the crystal and thus conduct electric current. This type of conduction is known as intrinsic conduction, as it can be introduced in the crystal without adding an external substance. Extrinsic semiconductors due to impurity defects. So thermal defects, intrinsic semiconductors, and impurity defects, extrinsic semiconductors. The conductivity of pure silicon and germanium is very low at room temperature. The conductivity of silicon and germanium can be increased by doping. Here, the doping is important. Doping is nothing but introduction of impurity. By doping with impurity, producing N-type semiconductor or P-type. So for silicon and germanium, if you use, now coming to discussion about what is P-type, N-type. Before going to that, we have silicon atom, perfect crystal, N-type and P-type. So for this is a perfect crystal. So if a arsenic compound, arsenic means here mobile electron here. If an arsenic is introduced, already you know silicon valence is 4. Silicon valence is 4, or germanium valence is 4. So instead of that, if you take an arsenic valence is +3. So if you take +3, here we have mobile electron, because to compensate for +4, we have to take one more electron. So it is called +4, and here it is +3. So one electron. This electron is called. So this electron is responsible for the conductivity of the current. Hence it is called N-type. So N-type semiconductor by the addition of 13th group element. So when the N-type semiconductor will be formed, 13th group element. If a 13th group element is doped, if a 13th group element is doped with semiconductor, it forms N-type semiconductor. Similarly, P-type semiconductor, if a 15th group element is doped, it is called P-type semiconductor. So here it is boron is being introduced. So it is called no electron, positive hole. So it is called mobile electron and hole, no electron. So these two are responsible for the conductivity of the semiconductor. Next, magnetic properties of solids. So this is called P-type conductor and N-type conductor, arsenic and boron. So for P-type, boron is introduced, and N-type arsenic is introduced. Next, magnetic properties of solids. So solids have conductivity properties as well as magnetic properties. So magnetic properties of solids. The magnetic properties of different materials are studied in terms of their magnetic moments, which arise due to the orbital motion and spinning of motion of the electron. So as electron is charged particle, we already know it is negative particle, negatively charged. The circular motion of the electric charge causes the electron to act as tiny electromagnet. Here you can see this circular part is acting as tiny electromagnetic moment. So the magnetic moment of the magnetic field generated due to orbital motion of the electron is along the axis of rotation. The electron also possesses magnetic moment due to the spin which is directed along the spin axis. Thus the magnetic moment of the electron is due to traveling in closed path about the nucleus and spinning on its own axis. So spinning on why the magnetic moment will be there due to spinning on its own axis and traveling to closed path. For each electron spin, magnetic moment is plus or minus mu, where mu is called magnetic moment symbol and B, mu B Bohr magneton is the fundamental unit of magnetic moment and is equal to 9.27 10 to the power of minus 24 em square. Now the magnetic moment due to orbital motion is equal to ml, where ml is the magnetic quantum number of the electron. As magnetic moment is a vector quantity, the net magnetic moment of an electron may be represented by an arrow. Thus, the material may be considered to contain a number of magnetic dipoles similar to bar magnet with north and south poles. Due to the magnetic moment of the electrons, different substances have differently towards the external applied magnetic field. So, TiO paramagnetic substance because it contains unpaired electron. TiO2 diamagnetic substance because it do not contain any unpaired electron. CRO is ferromagnetic substances. It is a special type of like FeO. It's a special type of magnetic substances. And Fe3O3 is also ferrimagnetic substances. So on the whole, magnetic substances can be classified into four categories: paramagnetic substances, diamagnetic substances, ferromagnetic substances, and ferrimagnetic, of which paramagnetic and diamagnetic are important. Here, in paramagnetic substance, it contains unpaired electrons, and these paramagnetic substances are colored. Diamagnetic substances do not contain unpaired electrons, hence they are colorless. Next, substances which are weakly repelled by the external magnetic field are called diamagnetic field. Example, titanium dioxide, NaCl, benzene, etc. Diamagnetic substances have all their electrons paired, hence they are colored, not colored. They are colorless. Substances which are weakly attracted by a magnetic field are called paramagnetic substances. Attraction, and here it is called repulsion, and here it is called attraction. These substances have permanent magnetic dipoles due to the presence of some species, that is unpaired electrons. The paramagnetic substances lose their magnetism in the absence of magnetic field. Example, titanium oxide, VO2, CO2, CuO, O2, etc., etc. So these are all examples of paramagnetic substances. Paramagnetic substances are weakly attracted by magnetic field. Next, coming to ferromagnetic substances, these show permanent magnetism even in the absence of magnetic field, are called ferromagnetic substances. They show permanent magnetism even in the absence of magnetic field. Example, iron, nickel, cobalt, chromium oxide, etc. Such substances remain permanently magnetized once they have been magnetized. This type of magnetism arises due to spontaneous alignment of magnetic moment. Here the alignment is important. Alignment of magnetic moment due to unpaired electrons in the same direction. Alignment of magnetic moment. Note down this, very important. They'll ask the alignment in the competitive exam. Alignment of magnetic moment due to unpaired electrons in the same direction are said to be ferromagnetic alignment. See here, clearly it is given. All the magnetic particles are aligned in the same direction. They are aligned in the same direction for ferromagnetic substances, and once they get magnetized, these are permanent magnetism. Means here, if a ferromagnetic substance is magnetized by any method, it will be remain as magnet only forever and ever. Next, anti-ferromagnetic substances. Substances which are expected to possess paramagnetism or ferromagnetism on the basis of their unpaired electron, but actually they possess zero net magnetic moment, are called anti-ferromagnetisms substances. Example, manganese oxide, Mn2O3, MnO2. Antiferromagnetism is due to presence of equal number of magnetic moments in the opposite direction. So here you can see alignment will be in equal opposite direction, equal number 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So next, ferromagnetic substances, substances which are expected to possess large magnetism on the basis of unpaired electrons, but actually have small net magnetic moments are called ferrimagnetic substances. So their alignment is not regular pattern; it is indefinite pattern. So we have like this. This is called ferrimagnetism, and actually small net magnetic moments which are expected to produce large magnetism on the basis of unpaired electrons. So they do not follow any alignment. Once again, we're repeating ferromagnetism, the alignment of particles will be in one direction. Antiferromagnetism, the alignment of particles will be equally in opposite directions. And ferromagnetic substance, the alignment of particles is not in one particular direction and they are not at all equal. So this is about magnetic properties of solids. Next, we have dielectric properties. A dielectric substance is the one in which an electric field gives rise to no net flow of electric charge. So dielectric constant of water is more. So when electric field is applied, polarization takes place because nuclei are attracted to one side and the electron cloud to other side. In addition to these dipoles, there also may be permanent dipoles in the crystal. So the alignment of these dipoles may be in compensatory way, that is the net dipole moment is zero, or non-compensatory way has a net dipole moment. The net dipole moment leads to certain characteristic properties to solids. Next, piezoelectricity or piezoelectricity. When mechanical stress is applied on crystals so as to deform them, electricity is produced due to the displacement of ions. The electricity thus produced is called piezoelectricity, and the crystals are called piezoelectric crystals. Means if you are applying stress, mechanical stress to a crystal like sodium chloride, etc., they deform and electricity is produced due to the displacement of ions. Conversely, if electric field is applied to such crystals, atomic displacement takes place, resulting in mechanical strain. This is sometimes called inverse piezoelectric effect. So the crystals are used as pickups in record players where they produce electrical signals by application of pressure. Examples of piezoelectric crystals include titanates of barium and lead zirconate PbZrO3 and so on, ammonium dihydrogen phosphate and quartz. They are also used in microphones, ultrasonic generators and sonar detectors. Next, piezoelectricity. Some piezoelectric crystals, when heated, produce a small electric current. The electricity thus produced is called piezoelectricity. Next, we have ferroelectricity. In some of the piezoelectric crystals, the dipoles are permanently polarized even in the absence of electric field. However, on applying electric field, the direction of polarization changes. That is, example, barium titanate, sodium potassium tartarate, and potassium dihydrogen sulfate phosphate. All ferroelectric solids are piezoelectric, but the reverse is not true. Antiferrocity. In some crystals, the dipoles align themselves in such a way that alternately they point up and down so that the crystal does not possess any net dipole moment. Such crystals are said to be antiferroelectric, that is lead zirconate. Superconductivity, we have zero resistance. So a substance is said to be superconducting when it offers no resistance to the flow of electricity. Electrical resistance decreases with the decrease in temperature and becomes almost zero, and it is at absolute zero. This zero at absolute zero. This phenomenon was first discovered by Campbell Onsing 1913 when he found that mercury becomes superconducting at 4 kelvins. So superconductivity means here zero resistance. Electrons move freely in all the directions as shown in the picture clearly. So the electrons are moving in all the directions due to which it conducts electricity. The temperature at which a substance starts behaving as superconductor is called transition temperature. Most of the metals have transition temperatures between 2 Kelvin to 5 Kelvin. That is very, very low temperature, which is impossible to attain. Certain organic compounds also become superconducting below 5 kelvins. Such low temperatures can be attained only with liquid helium, which is very expensive. That's why these superconducting materials have great technical potentials. They can be used in electronics, in building magnets, in power transmission, and elevation transmission, transportation, that is trains which move in air without rails. So this is called superconductivity. I hope it is clear. Next, now questions based on today's class. Conductors have conductivities in the order of 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 8. that is 10 to 10 to 10 to the power of 18 ohms, or 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of 8. So answer is first option. Bohr magnetism is the fundamental unit of magnetic moment and is equal to second option, that is B, 9.27 10 to the power of minus 24 m square. Some piezoelectric crystals, when heated, produce a small electric current. This electricity is called the piezoelectricity. Piezoelectricity, that is B option. Next, third question, piezoelectricity, that is D option. So B and D are same. So here the question is printed mistake. So it should be taken as B or D. Next, which of the following substances is not paramagnetic? It is clearly shown, that is CrO2. TiO2 is diamagnetic, paramagnetic, antiferromagnetic. It is diamagnetic. So this ends about today's session. We discussed about types of ionic crystals, and few solved problems we'll discuss the next session. And next session we have very important concept. So I'm ending this class.